All right. So to kick it off, I have the remote meeting script that I will start off with. This is the December 5th, 2023 open meeting of the Hopkinton Conservation Commission being conducted remotely, consistent with an act extending certain COVID-19 measures adopted during the state of emergency. The new law authorizes all members of a public body to continue participating in meetings remotely. The open meeting law's requirement that a quorum of the body and the chair be physically present at the meeting location remains suspended. For this meeting, the Hopkinton Conservation Commission is convening by video conference via Zoom app as posted on the town's web meeting calendar and the Conservation Commission agenda, identifying how the public may join. Additionally, the meeting may also be broadcast by HCAM through one or many of its channels or platforms. Please note that this meeting is being recorded and that some of the attendees are participating by video conference. Accordingly, please be aware that others may be able to see you, and take care not to screen share your computer. Anything that you broadcast may be captured by the recording. Supporting materials that have been provided to members of the commission for this meeting are available on the town's website. This meeting will feature public comment. After commission members and staff have discussed each project application on the agenda, the chair will open the discussion to public comment. Members of the public who wish to speak are asked to identify their name and address. 3 minutes will be afforded for each public comment. Each vote taken in this meeting will be conducted via roll call of the members. So I will now confirm which commission members are present. Jim Sorello?
Here.
Ted Barker-Hook?
Present.
Ed Harrell?
Here.
And I think that is everyone we were expecting at this point. We're missing Janine LeBlanc, Carrie, Jeff Barnes, and Matt Moyen. And I'll now confirm staff that are present. Kim Sirmacoli?
Present.
Anna Rogers?
Present.
And Joe Orzel?
Present.
Okay. Awesome. All right, so we can start with a couple work session items. Looks like we don't have any documents for review or draft minutes for review. Capital Group Properties, Deerfield Estates off Lumber Street. Request for certificate of compliance continuation. So, Kim, if I remember correctly, this project we've been looking at for a while, and where we left off was to ask the peer review consultant to take a look at the stormwater report and confirm what was required for infiltration on this project. So do you have any, do you want to give an overview on where we're at?
Yeah, I can attempt a quick summary of PAR's findings.
Okay.
So they were looking for if the subsurface infiltration chambers were included in the design to be able to meet standards 2 and standards 3 under the stormwater checklist, which is peak rate attenuation and recharge requirements. So what they found is that minimum standard 2 is met without the units being connected, essentially. They did find that for standard 3, the analysis that was provided by the applicant required that 63,995 square feet of roof runoff area would need to be connected to infiltration systems for compliance with that standard, the standard for recharge requirements. The order of conditions that was issued does include a special condition number 70, that requires drainage from the roof of each building to be directed to dry wells or infiltration chambers for the purpose of groundwater recharge on the site. it appears that the commission at the time was concerned about groundwater recharge because of the presence of adjacent vernal pools at this property. And there is a well. There is a well as part of this development. So the commission had that concern at the time. So PAR recommends the commission require the applicant to demonstrate that the stormwater management system was constructed per the approved design and provide as-built condition information certifying compliance or showing deviations. So this map that we're seeing here is a proposed, not a as-built. So basically, when all was said and done with the permitting, proposed design, and then construction period plan revisions, this is kind of where we ended. So the applicant proposed that the units in red were discharging to underground infiltration systems, the units in blue discharge to grade, and the units in green discharges to a separate detention area. So this is where we ended for what's proposed. So this should be the condition as it is out there. Obviously, the question is it, and does the commission want to require the applicant to meet the design standards?
Okay.
I guess I would add to that. I heard from the property management company, and they provided just a quick, they did a quick audit, and they had named several addresses and units, in the order of 9 to 10 that they were saying was unconnected. So it does appear that there's some discrepancy between the proposed and the existing condition.
And there's no one from that group on the phone on the call tonight that we were expecting
From PAR?
From the I guess the homeowners association or the group that took the inventory on disconnected homes or current
Justin,
status.
are you on the call, Justin?
Yeah.
I think there's two Justins. So there's Justin's
I
the
don't know if
management
the
group, and then
management company is.
yeah, okay.
Okay. All right. I think my thought would be
I am sorry to interrupt you, Kim. This is Kevin Murphy. I'm on the board of trustees at Deerfield Estates as well.
okay, great.
I didn't hear who else is on the call from the board. Is that Brian? Did someone else say they were on? I'm sorry. I don't know if you can hear me. I thought someone just said they were also on from the board.
I think Capital Group Properties is on the call.
Okay. Sorry. Okay, I didn't hear it. Very good.
Okay. So we have a couple representatives on the call. My thought, given PAR's evaluation, would be that it makes sense to certainly have the as-built of current conditions submitted, and I would expect that it would hopefully meet, and if not, be brought to meet the infiltration requirement that was required, by the board and per the order. I don't know if anyone else on the board has any thoughts, questions, concerns to add to that.
I have nothing to add. I just agree with you.
Okay.
And this is Ed. I mean, I would concur that, there's an expectation it's going to meet the standard.
Mm-hmm. Does anyone in the audience have any questions, comments?
Yeah, I'm with Capital Group Properties. So I guess the engineering company who was working on the project's no longer in business. So they don't have an as-built of the infiltration systems. I know that the PAR was supposed to go out and kind of do an evaluation of what was done, and evaluate kind of the existing conditions, which I know now they didn't end up going out there. They just kind of did a overview of the project from, I don't know if they had from the original documents or approved plans or what, but so we don't have the as-built.
Okay, is that, I think PAR identified for us what would be the requirements that need to be fulfilled according to to issue the COC. So I think the next step would be that the commission would like to see an as-built, whoever's going to put that together, whether it's PAR or someone else, of the current conditions, meeting that 36,955 square feet of roof area infiltrating into the ground.
I would agree with that, Melissa. That is, we need it.
Right.
Kim, is there a reason that they didn't go out and they just did a review? Because I thought the money that we paid for the review, I thought that was for them to go out and kind of verify at the units what was there and what wasn't there.
Through the chair.
Sure.
The reason why PAR didn't go out, and so what they did is they did a file review basically and a look at the analysis. They didn't want to go out before finding out if the standards were already being met, because if the standards were already being met and then they went out and did an inventory, then they wasted your money essentially. Okay. So that's why that was kind of pulled from the scope, because we didn't know if you had already met the standards with your existing hookups.
Okay.
So are they planning to go out or no? Or not yet?
At this point, I would think that it would be on the applicant to provide the as-built. That's typically what we see. And so
yeah, but they weren't going out. They weren't going out to do an as-built. They were going out to kind of review what's there, what's connected to runoff, what's connected to drains versus runoff. And I mean, like I said, the engineering company's not in business anymore. No one's going to go out and certify that all this stuff is in the ground without physically verifying, excavating and showing that it's in the ground. So that was kind of the reason I thought we were paying for the PAR to go out there.
This graphic here, Kim, is what was proposed, right? Not field verified. That's what we said.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So someone needs to go out with this plan and field verify and provide an as-built plan. So I think as far as the commission's concerned, that's we're not voting at this point in time. Right, Kim? We're just I think we're just providing the opinion that we would not vote to issue a COC without the as-built being provided and those conditions being met, and that it's on the applicant to provide that to us so that we can vote and make that decision.
Right. And I think what I'm hearing is that you want confirmation that 63,990 square feet of roof area is being infiltrated, so that we know that we're meeting stormwater standard 3.
Right.
How much was it?
It's 63,995 is what was provided in the analysis.
And that's just total throughout the project?
Yeah, I mean, I think it should be coming from, the buildings that were identified as having the infiltration installed.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Because like a lot of these buildings have infiltration, and some of them along the front go into the just dump into the driveways, so it goes into the street drainage. But So I don't know. I don't know how you're gonna how anyone's gonna certify it without seeing the info, the stuff that's underground.
Yeah, I mean, I think you have to talk to an engineer on that. According to this plan, it's just that building number 7 and building number 16 that can have downspouts going to the surface. All the others should be going into the ground.
Hey, Melissa, this is Jim. I
Yeah.
would think that can be accomplished without any subsurface work. So as was suggested, it's going to require excavation, and more than that. I don't think that's required, right? Or am I missing something?
Yeah, I don't think so. I think it'll be pretty obvious if the downspout is going to the surface. And you can do some testing with water in the gutters.
And what are you looking for? Like a letter from a engineer?
Yeah, we need that as-built plan too. And I think it would be shown on there.
Saying we don't have an as-built plan of the drainage.
But you can show where the drainage is going.
Yeah, I mean we could the downspouts. I agree. We can get a plan that shows what units have surface discharge versus versus downspouts that are tied in. That's not a problem. It's more just the someone to sign off saying, oh, these ones are going over here to where they show some sort of infiltration system.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean there might need to be some test beds. I don't know if there's details on the detail sheet that in the plans themselves give any details to where they should be. But it might take a little more, might take a little effort.
Well, did the construction plans show everything? They must have. Otherwise, the commission at the time would not have approved it. Right?
Right.
But it was 10 years ago.
I think taking those plans, would be the basis for your as-built.
Right. That's the base map. And it just needs to be confirmed by measurements that, the buildings in the roadways and so forth are where they're supposed to be. Utilities, and then the drainage.
We have utility as built.
Yeah, I think
Great,
the
you're
problem
probably
was
there.
it didn't include the roof.
No, it didn't. It has everything but the roof drainage.
Right. So I think the next step would be to talk to a surveyor and engineering company about pulling something together for you. It seems like it's in the best interest if there's a well on the property, it's in the best interest of the residents and the people living there using the well.
And we have well issues.
Yes, good point.
Sorry, Mr. Murphy, did you have a comment?
I just wanted to add that comment that we have certainly had our share of well issues in the 13 plus years I lived here.
Okay. So I think with that those are kind of the marching orders. We'll kind of leave it at that. I don't think there's any action at this point for the commission to take, right, Kim?
Correct.
Okay.
Kim, could you do me a favor? You see on this map here where it shows unit 2, 21, 22, and 20? those four could, and maybe three. That area was reworked from the plans that I have. I don't, there must have been some change from the original approved plans through construction. I can't find any sort of drainage utility plans for that layout.
I can send you what I can send you everything I have, so you have everything I
Okay.
have. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if there's like a like an SK for that section or what, but everything I have matches this except for like that cluster of units.
Yeah, I'll send you everything I have, so you can use it.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, and so I can I ask one more question?
Sure.
So we've done a lot of stuff over the last couple of months trying to, get this signed off. So I just want to be clear, if we have an engineering firm come out and they verify that we're meeting these standards on these units, there's not going to be another whole more stuff that needs to be done.
Verifying the standards are met on the units and providing an as-built. That's what that would close it out.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Yep. Thank you. All right, so we're at 7:22, so I think we should jump up to the new hearing, which I need to read. The Hopkinton Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on Tuesday, December 5th, 2023 at 7 p.m. virtually online to hear all persons interested in an amended notice of intent filed by Robin Vacha to replace existing retaining walls, location 29 Woody Island Road, Assessor's Map L36, Block 14, Lot 0. This application is subject to the Wetland Protection Act, Chapter 131, Section 40 as amended of the general laws of Massachusetts and the Wetlands Protection Bylaw of the town of Hopkinton. This legal notice is also posted on the Massachusetts Newspaper Publishers Association website. And that's it. Let's see, do you want to give an overview, Kim, or do we have someone?
Robin Bach is here, and I think Dougie is here. So we did this last meeting as well,
Yep.
if you guys remember, but we changed it enough that we needed to resubmit. So,
Right.
but Kim, I know Kim's been helping me try to do this, so I don't know if I'll follow your lead, or I think Dougie's is.
I can jump in.
Dougie's here. He's not a Zoom guy, and he's in Florida. Those two things combined are not a good combination. There he is. Good to see you, Dougie.
Yeah.
All right, I'll give a quick overview. So this is a request for amended order of conditions that the commission issued probably a month ago now. The applicant is proposing the following changes, basically replacement of the lake-facing retaining wall to the existing footings. They're going to keep the existing footings and replace northward of them. An elimination of an existing staircase to the lake, demolition and replacement or / enlargement of a second existing staircase to the lake, removal and rebuild of a retaining wall in closer proximity to the house structure, which is this wall, placement of a porous stone patio here, and installation of 111 plantings. Robin, did I tally that correctly? I tallied it and I said 111 planting.
I think that is correct. I asked
Okay.
Dougie the same thing. I think he's got 111 on there. They're not So I think that's correct. Obviously,
Okay.
as the project unfolds, we'll make sure we connect with you. But we think it's going to be 111.
All right. Awesome. That's awesome. That's a significant amount of plantings. I did take a quick review of the project, and I provided kind of an agent's some minor comments today from the agent. So Mr. Vacha had provided that the proposed amendments to the order of conditions results in an increase in green space of 100 square feet. My question was, the applicant should specify the ground cover within the green space areas. Is that going to be mulch, tall grass, lawn areas? Construction sequencing recommended straw wattles. I would recommend 18-inch filter mitt or similar compost sock. That way it's a little bit more beefy and it doesn't have to get staked into the lake bed. The applicant should specify how the lawn area will be stabilized for the winter, because the plantings and the revegetation is not going to happen until the spring just because of weather. Obviously, I recommend to the commission a special condition for work activities to occur under drawdown water levels only. I wanted to point out to the applicant that they should verify compliance with the Waterways Chapter 91 program, and also that the replacement of the wall is going to require a building permit prior to the start of work. And then my last comment is the 111 plantings are wonderful, but I would point out that some of them are hybrids and there is one non-native species in there. So I'm not sure if the commission would like some of those to be reconsidered.
Okay, thank you, Kim. I think to start off, Robin or Doug, can you talk about the 100 square feet of green space expansion and what that is made up of?
Yeah.
Where it is?
Hey, Doug, I did the measurement and I sent it. Do you want me to?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So we had a plan. Yeah, if you look at the previous plan, we just had green space between the two docks, basically right there. Thank you, Kim. So one of the questions that came out last time was, hey, what's the comparison? So then I just went out and measured there. We added that green space and then the green space to the left and up there. You know, it's not a huge difference to tell you the truth, but it is slightly bigger than what the I think, Kim, if I remember, it was like 275 square feet and the new one's like 375 square feet. Mm-hmm. So it's not a monumental difference, but the commission just asked to confirm what is the difference. But that all that section to the left is all new. It wasn't in the previous plan.
And that's composed of some of those 111 plantings in the planting list? Okay.
Yeah.
Do either you want to speak at all to Kim's comment on the erosion control? Are the revising away from the straw wattles to something else? Is that okay? And what are you thinking in the winter for the soil in the lawn area?
Yeah, that's fine. We'll use, that's the same thing. So it's a little different. So yeah, we'll use what Kim suggested. And then when you're completed with that first piece of wall, that's, the taller part, as soon as we complete that, we'll take straw wattles and we'll put them on top of the wall. It'll all be backfilled correctly, preparing it for planting. But of course, you won't plant it until the spring, but we'll put straw wattles right on the edge of the wall. So nothing is going to go that way anyways, but to be double sure. So you have the wattle on the bottom. I always use straw, so it's just sort of, that's what sticks in my head. But whatever wattle that Kim wants, and then we'll put it up on top too. So you'll have two, and nothing will be able to get towards the beach. And then we'll do the same thing as we move across and go over towards the existing the boathouse. We'll do that. We'll keep on, as we finish, we move the wattles up above to protect from up above and down below. And that should be great. Hold it all together.
Okay.
Through the chair.
Yes,
Yep.
Kim.
Mr. DeWolf, would you be open to applying, like I'm imagining that it's going to be loose sediment for a distance behind the wall for machinery access and whatnot, work during the wall. Would you be open to stabilization of the lawn area behind the wall, like maybe a winter rye with a tackifier?
If you do that, I own a hydro seeder and all that stuff. If you do that in the middle of the winter, it's not going to really do anything. I think, putting, more wattles and things like that would probably be, hold everything together better. I think grading it off so that you know exactly where the water is going to run is probably a good idea as well. If you wanted to put that down, I'd probably tell you to, I don't know, they always wash out. They last for a little bit. You get a snowstorm and it all turns to shit real fast. So I think I would, you could hay it, I suppose, but you could even put some bales of hay if you wanted to. We could do that and maybe block, stake some bales of hay and stuff. That's, it's so narrow that, it'd probably be easy to do something that you would like. I just don't think it'd be effective if you spray it. Winter rye couldn't do nothing. It's too late. It's not even going to pop at all. So we're into December. It's going to be March and then it'll pop. And by that time, it's all going to be landscaped. Does that make sense?
Through the chair.
Sure. Hey, Ted.
Hi. I think I'm with Kim, though, in the idea. I would love to see something on top of the dirt, whether it's straw or roll out some blankets on it, something so that it's not just dirt exposed immediately to the elements and the rain and the melting snow.
Well, you could put fabric on it. Now, you could do like a jute, a fabric,
Yep.
staple it to the ground. We could do that. Jute.
And I'm seeing Kim nodding happily with that idea.
Yeah. Now, remember, that path is access to the entire project. So we're going to use it as we go. But up by the edge of the wall will absolutely not be touched because, we won't want to wreck what we just did. So we could jute all that, and we could jute right where we're driving. And we'll wreck it. We could probably rejute it again because we're bringing stone in that way. It's all coming in that way. With guys with wheelbarrows, even with wheelbarrows, it's still they're gonna come across that way to get in over by the edge of the boathouse. So all of that. There's not that big of walls over there, but it's still, it's still a lot of stuff. So I could do some jute, and that's easy. It's cheap. That's easy to do. We could do that.
Okay. I think we'd appreciate that with some of these rain
Sure.
events that we've been having that are so intense and just come overnight. We've seen,
Yeah, no, I get it. Yeah.
yeah. Okay. What was I? In the dock, we had talked last time about the dock and what was going to happen with that. And, did that change in this application, or can you give the current status of what you're proposing for the dock? You say
Yeah.
you're maintaining existing?
Yeah, we're just going to maintain that. We added it to the drawings as reference. So that was the question. We didn't have it on the last one. So we put it on this one
Mhm.
so people could see it. But no, the dock's in good shape, and we don't plan to move the dock, and the stairs are going to match up to the dock.
Okay. Okay.
I might come back in future years and put a new dock in, but not as part of this project. And I'll be clearly out of money by the time this one's done. So it'll be a couple of years.
Rick, okay. So we'll just want to make sure at some point that gets documented with or permitted, right, Kim? Even the existing dock.
Yeah, I mean, I would just reiterate to the applicant that the wall and the dock are jurisdictional under Chapter 91, so that should get a permit at some point.
Okay. And then the proposed plantings was the other comment you had, Kim, that we think we want to cover with the couple non-native or hybrids that are proposed. I know we talked a little bit about those last time. I think they were hydrangeas, if I remember correctly, were some of the ones that were hybrids are not necessarily native, but 111 plantings is significant. So I feel like if that's the majority and we have 1 or 2 out of those, I guess that would be the question: is are they quantified on the planting list to that level of detail that we're talking about 1 or 2 out of 111, or are we saying that things could be interchanged with these non-natives?
Kim, do you have the planting document that Doug gave? No, they're all, I mean, again, we don't plan to change, but they're all clearly defined. He has, I don't know if you have it or not. I think he gave it to Kim. We have a whole.
I remember the ones you.
There it is.
No, there you go.
There it is. So you can actually see the plant list up there.
So it looks like there's 15 hybrid hydrangeas. There's a hybrid viburnum 3, and then 11 other blue jangle hydrangea hybrids. And then I found this one was actually a non-native. There's 22 of them. It was not native according to Go Botany.
I think Leucothely is a native New England plant. Might not be that variety. I think it is though. I think at least people ask us for it at the nursery, and we do supply that, and that is a native New England. Leucothely is, grows in the woods naturally around here. The blue jangle hydrangea is not. And I put that because it's a very low growing blue hydrangea, and it's going to be planted in only the planter above the patio very close to the house. And that's a contained planter, only because I didn't want to obstruct the view inside the house. So I needed something that would stay low in flower for the summer. So I did do that, and I knew that it wasn't, part of the list. Now, the Annabelle hydrangeas, I believe they are native New England. If they're not on the list, they're going to be on the list. That's a native New England plant. And it's just that, sometimes it takes a while for things to click in. But and I'm working all over the state, and they tend to accept it, and it's not yet. And we have arguments about it. But yeah, that's the Leucothely. That's and I forget which one we were going to use, but coastal. Coastal Leucothely is native New England.
Yeah, now that I'm looking at it and you're saying it, I thought that this was native too. Now that, because it's Fetterbush is how I know.
Yeah, that's a great plant.
Go Botany does have it as non-native, but yeah, no, I have seen it around.
Yeah, it grows in the woods. It looks kind of like Mount Laurel, but it's really they show it as they show it like it's showy the flower, but it's not. You never see it flowering. And it grows in darkness. And Robin has a couple spots that are really dark.
Our intent was to select a native plant, that's for sure. That's what we thought we were doing.
And the viburnum, I believe, Mercii is native New England as well. The viburnum, had you mentioned that and thought that might not be, that's a native New England. Viburnum's a native.
Viburnum is definitely native. It's the hybrid. That's so it's up to the commission, how you feel about it.
Does anyone else have any thoughts or opinions on that?
No, except that I'm okay with that list. As far as I know, Lakota is native, and viburnum. Some viburnums are native. I don't know about this one, but. So I'm good with this.
Okay. Joe, do you have any comments on this or any other aspects of the project?
Yeah, the Leucotha is it's a native U.S., but it's a more southern. Natives are more southern, but it does grow in the area. I have seen it growing more or less naturalized. I don't know if it's not real common, but I do come across it. by Burnham, I'm just checking it now because I didn't recognize the species name. That is not, that's introduced. It's also known as Japanese snowball, but I'm not aware of it being invasive. So again, not native, but I don't think it's invasive.
So Melissa,
Yes.
our two concerns would be that something not be invasive and that something be hardy,
Right.
survive. And these fit that, right? But we don't know them as invasives, and they're presumably appropriate for our zone, and they've been successful in other places. So that's why I say I'm okay with it, but that's just me.
Seems that way to me too, Jim. I'd say with the way climate's changing too, I wonder what southern plants are going to become more native.
Oh, stop it. So we'll be planting palm trees and pineapples here someday. Long after
Not
I'm
going that far. But yeah, no, I think the survivability and not having to water them, using a lot of water obviously wasn't a problem this summer, but
yeah, that's a good point too.
other years we don't want, high intense water use plants. But that being said, I mean, the hybrids, I think they would have a lot of the characteristics of the natives if they're hybrid. Would probably inherit those, and that's why they're sold up here. So I think I'm okay. There's a lot of plants, and I appreciate the number of plantings. So I think it could give a little flexibility there, in my opinion. Okay, are there any questions or comments from the audience? Or from the public, I guess I should say. I don't see any hands.
Through the chair, this is Joe.
Yes.
Yeah, I just checked the Lakota on the USDA plants database, and they actually do show it as native in Massachusetts.
Okay, great.
Oh, Bonnie's failing me.
I'm telling you, it's changing minute by minute.
Yeah.
Just updated that version. Okay, so I think we covered all the bases here. So what we are asking for before we vote would be making the changes in regards to swapping out the straw wattles for filter mitt or something similar. And then applying some sort of stabilizer to the open soils over the winter, whether that's a blanket or straw or something to that effect. And then, do we have a condition? This is going to be done during dry or during drawdown, the work on the wall, correct? That could be a condition. And it's on the applicant should verify compliance with the Mass Waterways Chapter 91 program and permit requirements for the wall itself. Okay. I think with that, we could probably take a vote on this one, unless I'm missing anything, Kim.
You got everything.
Okay. Can I get a motion to approve this amended notice of intent with those conditions?
This is Ted.
So moved.
And second?
Ted will be, I'll second.
Right.
Whatever.
All in favor? I will go through the roll call. Ted?
Aye.
Jim?
All right.
Ed?
Aye.
And myself, I'm an I. I think that's everybody.
Yep.
Great.
All right, so you are all set. Thank you very much for coming back to us with the amended notice. I know that was, a little extra effort, but we appreciate it.
No problem. I appreciate all the help. You guys are all welcome to come see it when it's done. You can
Nice.
either on the
Definitely.
lakeside or on the so. But Doug's anxious to get started before
Through the chair,
the ground freezes.
All right, yes, Kim.
do we want to authorize a signature in this case because of the time constraints with the drawdown and the freeze?
Yes. Yes. Do we need to vote again?
Yeah, just vote to
No.
authorize me
Okay.
to sign and the amended. Yeah.
Okay. Can I get a motion for that?
I'll make a motion that Kim sign for the commission.
And I'll second.
All right, all in favor, Tim, Ted,
Ted is an I.
Jim,
Aye.
and Ed,
Aye.
and myself, I'm an I. All right, so you're all set.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you guys. I'm gonna drop off. Enjoy the rest of the meeting.
You don't want to stick around, huh?
This is my fourth one here. I just want to go on record. I think I should be like an associate member at one point. It's super interesting, but I'm okay for tonight. Thank you guys.
Robin, be careful what you wish for.
Yeah, yeah. I have to
Bye, good
admit
luck.
that there are some pretty interesting ones in the last couple months. So it's been good, but I'll be okay. To have fun in January or December 19th.
You can follow along in the Hopkinton Independent.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, everyone.
All right, so our next two hearings on the agenda were continued to December 19th. All right. So that leaves the work session items. So we'll go with Johnson, 132 Lumber Street, request for 1 year extension.
Yeah, I can run us through this one, hopefully quickly. Here are some site plans to look at. So this is a request for a 1 year extension. There was a 2019 order of conditions for removal of vegetation within buffer zone. The applicant removed the permitted vegetation and has allowed the cleared area to revegetate naturally. Anna went out and inspected the area in October. We did find that the area is stable, but does have some invasive species present. I recommended that before the applicant apply for the COC, the invasives be managed, and we do another inspection to evaluate the health of the vegetation. Because of the timing of the year, a year extension of the permit is necessary in order to finish the work. So that's what I'm recommending to the commission tonight. And I will work with the homeowner in the spring to manage the invasive species. Luckily, I think it's just a hand pulling situation. So hopefully we can get the COC going early in the spring.
Okay. Seems reasonable, makes sense to me. Does anyone have any questions, comments on this?
No.
Nope. Okay. So do we need to sign on this too, or just make a motion, Kim?
Just make a
Any
motion.
signatures? Okay. Can I get a motion for a 1 year extension on this 132 Lumber Street project?
So moved.
Ed, so moved.
I heard Jim move.
I'll second. Jim seconds.
Okay. All in favor, Ted,
Ted is an I.
Jim,
Aye.
Ed,
Aye.
and I am an I. All right.
Okay, thank you, folks.
All set there. Next we have, all right, so we have a continuance here for Grasshopper Energy. And then we have 0 Equestrian Drive or 1210 request from Benny Mac, 21 Appaloosa Circle to remove down trees and commission owned open space.
Through the chair,
Yes.
I can run us through this. I was expecting the homeowner on the call tonight. Is anybody in the waiting room, Melissa, or are we clear?
I don't see anyone else asking. Is there like a waiting room button?
I have no idea. One would hope
Okay.
it would pop up. if there
Yeah,
was
I've been
somebody.
I've been seeing them pop up and allowing
Okay.
anyone to come in as they pop up, so I don't see any.
All right, so this is a request by a homeowner. A tree fell down naturally. So Mr. Benny Mac, he lives in this lot here. This is the original subdivision plan. So it's the lot with his house. Behind his house is a Coltech unit leaching area, which accepts drainage runoff from the rest of the subdivision. And then behind that is open space. And the open space is actually owned by Conservation Commission in this case. So I went out with Carrie Reed to take a look at the property, and we realized that the down tree is actually on the open space area. Mr. Mack has been maintaining that area as his lawn unknowingly. Oh, that's my nose. Hang on. So here's the tree. I think you guys can barely see that. Maybe that stake right there. I believe that's the property. Yeah, that's the property line. There's the infrastructure. There's another shot of the tree. So, typically when a tree falls in the woods, we leave it. DPW is not going to take care of it. Mr. Mack is requesting that the tree be removed by the town on the town's dime because it's a danger to him. I informed him that was unlikely to happen, but he really wanted to ask the commission about it, which is why I'm surprised he's not here tonight. But yeah, I mean, my initial feeling was when a tree falls in the woods, we leave it. And, this is conservation's property. So wanted to run that by you guys.
So, Melissa.
Yes.
Melissa, I have 2 questions. I'm sure Ed's got one. Kim, what we're looking at in this photo, where would you say the boundary of the town's land and the homeowner's land is? Could you say anything about that?
See that stake?
So I see a couple of rocks, right, in the background. But this felled tree is entirely on town-owned property. So I see a stake.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying? Well,
Yep.
right there where you're pointing. That's
Yep.
town-owned. That's the boundary. So the homeowner has encroached, whether this one or a previous one, has gone way out there. Ed will probably have something to say about that. And yeah, the trees in the woods. I don't know how it's a danger to anybody. It's already on the ground. And it's not only on the ground, it's not on their property. So I'd say the town definitely wouldn't take it down unless open space decided to. And do something about restoring that area. That's it.
Well, through the chair, this is Ed, since Tim tells me I have a whole lot of things to talk about here.
Go for it, Ed.
Well, you don't have to. You can think about it and talk about it some other time.
This tree is not under my purview or open spaces purview because this property is owned by the Conservation Commission. That said, we had a similar issue with a standing tree that was dead within striking distance of a house, and my attitude was basically that's what homeowners insurance is for. But to calm the waters, we had the tree basically dropped intact into our property, where this tree is in our property, and left. Now, the only thing that I could possibly comment on here is the ground end of the tree is up in the air a few feet, and maybe it's conceivable that it could break off and drop on the ground when someone was underneath it. And so perhaps that's something that we could authorize to have him have done. And if this was on our property, that would be something that I would argue that the Open Space Commission should agree with. This is not my property, so I've spoken my piece. Thank you.
So Melissa, let me revise what I said based on after hearing from Ed.
Sure.
It's Conservation Commission property. I guess I have no problem with the homeowner removing the tree if it was not a liability or legal issue for the town, for Concom. If that wasn't a liability issue, then having him remove it, I wouldn't have a problem with. But then there's the whole business of what he's now actively maintaining as lawn, and apparently part of his. So I'm okay with the homeowner if it's legally and liability accepted, having him remove that. But I think we need to talk about what happens to the part that's now been planted and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
Melissa,
Yes.
so my thoughts are that it's not his tree and it's not on his land and he shouldn't touch it, period. If he doesn't want anyone to get hurt, then put up a fence where we would normally put a PIB and say to the kids, don't go back there.
Mhm.
That's what I think. If we
That
make
is a
the tree stay there and he's not allowed to touch it, then maybe that part of the land becomes again what it was supposed to have been the whole time.
That's a good point, Ted.
This is Ed through the chair. Ted brings up an excellent point. And again, on open space, we have dealt with lawn creep getting into our property, and it's quite evident here that the lawn has, I can't say that it's creep, but certainly it's expanded within the Conservation Commission's, I'm going to call it open space property, and that's a secondary issue that needs to be dealt with.
Mm-hmm.
If you're done, Ed, in that regard, Melissa, do we have, have you looked at, has Kim looked at a site, a plot plan? And maybe were there any prior to, I don't know how old this house is, but was there an order of conditions on this property? It's lot 9? No.
Lot 8.
Lot 8. Is there a order of conditions that was issued, and did it define, a PIB or?
So I don't believe that there's an order of conditions. We're looking at the subdivision plans through planning board, which does document the limits of the open space.
The house looks like it's right on the back line. Is that true?
There's a leaching area right on the back of the property line.
I guess okay.
Yeah, unfortunately, I didn't turn around and take photos of the house, but the house is kind of like
that's fine. That's fine.
Right here. Yeah.
That's fine. So the extra lawn area is beyond the leaching field.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's back here.
All right. So if there was not an NOI filing when the place was built, and therefore no order of conditions where we would normally require a PIB and delineation, if there wasn't that, can we now do that? Can we now, order the homeowner to map out that area, to survey that area, show us what part of that area is on town property, what part of that area is on their property, and then we require a PIB be installed between the private property and the Concom property, and then let it go fallow, as somebody suggested, beyond the PIB. Fallow sands invasives. Invasive starts growing, you remove them. Does that make any sense? So my question would be, should we require a site plan? I say yes. Surveyed, land surveyed, delineating the encroachment area, I will call it that. And then a proposed PIB between the Conservation Commission land and the private land.
I don't know that we can require that of the homeowner. I don't think we can.
Wait.
But
They're encroaching on property that this commission owns.
oh no, I meant I don't think we can require them to put up a PIB at this point in time, but I think that we could, as a commission,
No?
we can put stakes out there, right? I mean, it's our open space, we're responsible for it, so we could put
Okay.
stakes and markers that outline the limit of our open space. And maybe we want to do that and provide an educational pamphlet or something like that to this neighborhood. I don't know if this is the only property that's encroaching on that open space or not, but
Yeah, I was going to ask that. So, no offense to lots 9, 10, 11, and 12 and beyond. We don't know, right? So I volunteer to walk the open space property with someone. Ed might want to jump in. And Ed, in the past, open space has installed or placed similar signs, right? In areas where you found encroachment onto open space land?
Typically through Halt, Morigasser.
Okay.
And so I would expect that there's rebar pins at the corners of the property.
Well,
Whether or not they have any kind of a cap on them to identify them, I don't know. And what Maury would do typically is to put like plow guide markers in at each pin, and then he puts a little flag on it with a number so that he can orient where those are.
yeah, no, I know how to lay it out. And, right, I know how to lay it out. And by the way, you have way too much faith in surveyors and builders to think that there's a pin at every corner. But we can lay it out. And we being, me and whoever, that's easy, right? Magnet, we with a magnetometer, with a, metal detector, and we should walk it and lay it out. I got 300-foot tape, I don't think it'll be that hard. But so my question would be, should the commission go around, confirm the boundary the best that we can, and install signs? And if we were to install a sign on what we believe to be the back boundary, the border boundary of open space and the private owner, and the private owner contests it, then it's up to the private owner to demonstrate by doing a land survey that we're wrong. You follow me?
yeah, I'd support that effort, Jim.
Noise. Can I get anybody else to help out? Ed, will you help me?
Of course. What else am I going to do?
Anybody else want to take a walk? We'll set something up and
You can let me know
ASAP.
when you're planning to go, Jim and Ed. Let me know. If it's a weekday, I'm out. I don't get home till after dark, but you can let
Well,
me know.
sunrise is 4:30 in the morning, I think. So tomorrow at 5 a.m.
I know for sure sunrise is not then because I'm up at that point.
Oh, it's sunset 4:30. That's right.
You can count me out as that hour.
Anyway,
Yeah, do you want to come out?
Yeah, I think the so I think to wrap up this item number 6, the response to the request is no.
Yes.
We do not, I guess. We
Yeah.
don't think it's appropriate for the town to pay for the tree to be removed or for the tree to
Or
be
to have
removed at
homeowner.
all on
Yep.
our property.
right, I think that's important that if the person decides, all right, then I'll pay for it or I'll go take my own chainsaw to it. I think the message needs to be sent, no, you may not. It's not yours. It's not on your property. Leave it alone.
Yep. And then I guess as kind of to address that part too, we'll coordinate an effort to mark out the open space and provide some education. And we can work on that, Jim, offline, I think. And
Yep.
that would be the next step, to provide education, put out the boundary, and hopefully that addresses the cutting of the grass in that area. If not, then we can go from there.
I mean, it gives us the boundary that we and they need.
Right.
All
Right.
right, cool.
Does that
Thank
make sense, Kim?
It does, and I will deliver the message.
Okay, thank you. All right. Next we have Maspinock Woods LLC, West Elm Street, Maspinock Woods condos, request for certificate of compliance. This is a continuation. What do we have here, Kim?
So I actually have not heard from them since the last meeting. I sent an email and I didn't hear back. I'm wondering if anybody is on the line, because I didn't get any other updates either.
Hi, I'm online. This is Amanda with Garrier in Howland.
Hey, Amanda.
Hi, Amanda.
How are you? For this item, we're working with the wetland scientist, so we'd like to continue this to the next hearing if possible, and we'll reach out to the wetland scientist and we'll coordinate with Kim.
Okay. So the next meeting is December 19th.
Okay.
Work?
Yep, that works for now.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep. All right. And next we have Trolio, 100 Ash Street, request for certificate of compliance.
And I'm also on for that one as well.
You are? Okay. Can you give an update?
Sure. So we submitted the request for certificate of compliance back in October. It's a single family house lot that the applicant has recently purchased. When the application was filed, it was in the process of being transferred between owners. And there was an outstanding order of conditions that was on the property that needed to be closed out. It's since expired. And that was from, the old one was from 1996. So it's an old order. And what you can see on the plan is an as-built of the existing conditions that's out there. Lucas Environmental had been out on site. They had done an inspection in comparison with the design plans, and we've added and updated the plans based on some of their observations. And I know that one of the comments was to remove some of the debris that was in the buffer zones. That's all been removed. I did see the pictures that were on the meeting site for the meeting materials, and I looked like there were some old oil tanks or some type of debris that was still out on the driveway. That's since been removed. That was taken out yesterday. I do have some pictures I can bring up if anybody would like to see them. But I believe the plans have been updated, and the only outstanding item was something that was going to be deferred to the board for a future sale of the property regarding the boundaries and the wetlands in the back.
Okay. Joe, do you have any additional comments on this?
I do not at this time. I didn't actually even realize that there had been a response to the memo. I missed that somehow. I'm looking at it right now.
Okay.
Let me see what I've got here.
Sorry, Joe.
Okay, while Joe's looking at that, can you clarify? So you said requesting certificate of compliance, but deferring something to a future.
It was a deed reference.
Yeah,
Okay.
through the chair, I think I can clarify. So
Sure.
there's a certain period of time where the commission required a reference on the deed about the presence of wetlands. And we've gotten away from enforcing that because the orders of conditions and the certificate of compliance gets recorded to the deed. So any conditions in perpetuity come up when there is a deed or a title search on the property. So, you know, it's my understanding that that intent is fulfilled. So it tends to be something that we feel like is already taken care of when it does come up.
Okay. So is it something that needs to be deferred to the future, or something that we just consider as satisfied?
I would consider it satisfied just because the order is recorded. Like I said, the order is recorded to the deed and the COC is going to get recorded to the deed. So that should be notification to any future owners if their title company is worth anything that there's wetlands at the property.
Okay. I think that makes sense to me, rather than giving a future homeowner something that they have to worry about when we're trying to close it out. And it's already old anyway.
Through the chair, is it Joe?
Sure.
Yeah, I've looked at the responses. I think things were addressed pretty well. I think the one remaining question I would have was on my comment number 5 regarding the expansion, the construction of the garage and the expansion of that footprint beyond what was approved, and if the commission would require a after the fact filing for that of a notice of intent or anything for that construction.
Yeah.
Looks like, is this the approved plan, Kim?
Yeah, so this is the approved plan. It's an oldie, so not super detailed, but here's the driveway. The wetlands are over here, the house, and then the garage. And here's the as-built. So there is this like expansion. There's this foundation, and then I think the actual garage footprint is a little bigger as well.
The garage is already built there. It's already up. I'm not sure. Just want to make sure everybody's clear about that.
Mm-hmm. Can you provide your name and address for the record? Thank you.
Oh, this is Marcello, the homeowner.
Okay.
I just want to make it clear that the garage is already built. It's already, except for the roof structure, everything is already there. So before I bought the house.
Before you bought the house.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's all. Yeah. So even on the approved plan, Kim, was that within the disturbed area and grading? Yeah. Yeah.
I would say the additional foundation was within the area that was already kind of being graded and maintained as a lawn.
Okay.
You know, I don't know at what point in time, you know, that took place. I think this property was overgrown for a while, so I don't think anybody had seen it in a long time.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I'm just filing a permit to put the roof structure back on, to put the roof structure on, just to clarify. I know that has probably nothing to do with what we're talking about, but just make it clear as far as this state of that.
Okay.
Melissa, can I? Melissa?
Yes, go ahead, Jim.
I assume the applicant, whose name escapes me, that you understand that there was an order of conditions, there was a plan to build a house, and then someone along the way ignored that, and some folks along the ways, their attorneys ignored the fact that there was this encumbrance, but they ignored it and put this in, right? So I know you were just in here for a roof or the roofing, but we have to, I think, get over the fact that this was all built without any permit from us.
Oh, I don't know. I'm not sure about what happened in the past. I don't know. Have to ask Amanda about that, but yeah, I don't know.
If I may, through the chair.
Yes.
So this site was previously constructed. Again, this is one of the one of the items as far as the order of conditions to close it out was to provide an as-built of what was constructed. The applicant is aware. We have had conversations that any future work on this property would require a new filing for any work within the buffer zone if needed. The garage is already partially constructed, so any type of building permit that would be required to put the roof on, there's no impact to land disturbance. As far as the foundation that's in the back, again, it was all stuff that was constructed prior to Marcello owning the property. And as Kim had mentioned, that it is within the area that was proposed to be disturbed. We can certainly work with the applicant moving forward should they propose additional work on the site as far as a new notice of intent being filed. But at this point in time, there's no further disturbance. A lot of the times with expired orders of conditions and transfers of property, when these things come up, we've seen that we provide an as-built, we show the commission of what is here, and knowing that any future disturbance beyond what's on the property is instead of encumbering the applicant that currently owns the property that wasn't part of the previous disturbance, that they wouldn't be necessarily responsible for filing for an order with the work that's already been done, but anything moving forward where it's in substantial compliance with what was proposed minus the foundation.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure what. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh, I'm not sure what you mean by the minus the foundation. The foundation's that part I don't understand.
No, Marcello, the foundation was already there.
Right.
But it wasn't proposed on the original design. So that's the only
I see.
That's the only thing that was different from the design plans.
Oh, okay.
And as far as the intent and what was covered under the order of conditions from the previous design, that's been substantially completed.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
All right, so this is a certificate of compliance. Okay.
Melissa, could I bring up one other thing that Ellie mentioned?
Sure.
About the roof drains into or near the wetland. Was that originally approved, or was that something that was added that you're hoping we will approve now? I don't feel like that's our normal practice these days. Maybe it was whenever these old blueprints were approved.
It does not appear that they were proposed. Again, this is prior to my time and what was constructed prior to the owner, the current owner. So again, the purpose of filing on an expired order would really be to show the current conditions as they exist today with the current owner, and any further work that would be done on the property within the buffer zone would require a filing.
So it looks like these are foundation drains, which are a little different than roof drains. Do the roof drains for the house and the garage go to the surface, like just splash to the ground surface?
I believe there's one foundation drain and the other two, if I am correct, nope, they all appear to be foundation drains.
I'm sorry, maybe I don't understand. I think the comment I see in your response is the pipes in the field are roof drains.
So they foundation drains. Yeah, those must be the roof drains, if I remember correctly, when the engineer went out to the site to inspect. So those would be the roof drains.
So Melissa, that's your world. That just doesn't feel like what we do now. And
Yeah, what we would typically say is that the roof drains would be routed to infiltration system under the ground, just a
Chambers.
dry well or something. And the same thing for the garage.
I think that's more concerning to me than the extra foundation on the previously disturbed ground, because that would be a continued water drainage system that is just, it wasn't approved initially, but we would be approving it now if we said, okay, we'll sign off, wouldn't we?
Yes.
And roof runoff is considered clean and going to the wetlands. It's not, and it's eventually going to recharge or help out the wetlands a little bit more. It is clean water, so it's not coming off of pavement or untreated areas.
Yeah, I mean, I guess in this case, they're going. It looks like they're discharging beyond the lawn, presumably just on the ground. I don't know if there's any erosion or anything like that going on out there, if it's pretty stable. But one of the reasons we would do the in the ground right at the building is to avoid it, going over the grass and picking up fertilizers and all those things and carrying them into the wetlands bypasses that. I wouldn't propose this currently, or if it was a new project, we still wouldn't do this.
I guess for me, Melissa, if you are okay with it, then I'm not going to disagree. I just thought it might be worth a discussion.
No, it is. I mean, and I think it's good to discuss from the point of any future work and any, future filing under this project. These would all be things that we're looking at and expecting. This is an old, obviously a very old project. So
1996.
Yeah.
Right. So I think, I don't know, does anyone else have any comments, thoughts? Anyone from the audience or the commission?
Through the chair?
Yes.
Yeah, I was just gonna add that I mean, I was in middle school in 1996, but I do not think that the roof runoff was kind of part of what the commission considered as part of their scope at that point. So they may have just not even evaluated such a thing.
I think you're right, Kim. It wasn't on the original plan because it wasn't a point of concern at that time.
Right.
Where were you in 1996?
Middle school.
Golly. Good for you.
Okay. So I think I am inclined to go ahead and agree to issue a certificate of compliance on this project. If I can get that motion, but with the understanding that, these are the expectations. If there's a new notice of intent on the property, we would be looking at current standards, current practices for the site.
I will make that motion then.
This is that. I'll second.
All right. All in favor, Ed?
Yes.
Ted?
Ted is a yes.
And Jim?
All right.
And I am also an aye.
Great. Thank you so much.
Yep. All right. Next, we have DeLeo, 44 Stony Brook Road, request for certificate of compliance. Do we have anyone on the call for this property?
Yes, Dave Marquardt, for Paul DeLeo.
Hey, Dave.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
So this property was permitted back in 18 by Prime Properties. Paul DeLeo bought it from Prime. I think this board and staff has seen a lot of project changes in discussions with this project from its original design. As it currently sits, the house is where it's supposed to be per project change. Septic and well are very close to where they're supposed to be. The retaining wall behind the septic has been shown just a little bit towards the road right there. That retaining wall has been shown up in different locations over the last couple of years. It's where it's supposed to be. And then I think this board saw a project change from the septic tank and pump chamber that was in the front yard was moved to the backyard. There were plantings, patios, chain link fences behind the home, small retaining walls behind the home, and a riprap slope that's acting as our PIB in the back of the property adjacent to the wetlands. Everything appears to be very stable. Everything's green, plantings, trees. Erosion control measures have been removed. There we go. You can see the plantings in lawn. There's the limit of work. There's the PIB, riprap slope that we call it, which appears to be some very large stones, so they're not moving. They're all locked in place. Limit of work is all more than 25 feet from the wetland, except for one little spot is at about 24 and a half. But all else is 5.
Okay. Thank you. Joe, Kim, do you have any comments on this request?
Yeah, I did go out on the site and pretty much in agreement with what was just said. The site is generally well stabilized. A few areas that had some thin grass, but coming in well. And the erosion control barrier had been removed. No erosion issues were noted. And other than the rock slope being slightly beyond the approved limit of work, as was stated, no other disturbance was noted beyond the limit of work. And again, the rock riprap wall does function as a PIB. One question I had was that the most current approved plan that I had seen in the file included a small area labeled as a stone line sloped and then referencing the detail. However, the detail that was included on the plan showed a vertical block wall. So I'm not sure what was discussed at some of those previous project change meetings, but I thought the commission might want to discuss whether the constructed rock boulder slope was consistent with the what was previously approved as far as if it was in fact a vertical block wall. And other than that, that was all I had for comments.
Okay. Dave, do you have any clarification on the wall?
Yeah, so I think that detail is related to a slope that's right below between the septic tank and pump chamber and the wetland in the back of the home. it's been a lot of discussion with the Board of Health as to whether you call it a wall or whether you call it a slope. The Board of Health is comfortable and has signed off with an interlocking slope versus a retaining wall. And that's what was constructed. The detail has always been a little bit of a concern with the Board of Health, that it was shown as such, but that's not what was intended to be built. And what they built was what the Board of Health was hoping to have constructed. So the Board of Health was happy with it. There was always a little vague as to why it was drawn as a wall in that area. And that the area we're talking about is right there, right below that little hand between that spot and the wetland, right there. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I think I would defer to the Board of Health on that with the septic right next to it. Any other comments, questions?
I have a quick one. Kim, could you show us that photo that shows the back patio and the riprap wall and the chain link fence, the one that was up right before you put the plan back up? No, we got to shuffle through the deck again. There. Can you tell me, Dave, just out of curiosity, what's the distance between the pylons holding up the deck and the back edge of the chain link? 10 feet, maybe less?
I don't have the piers on there, but I
just a guesstimate.
I have the limit of deck to the fence.
Yeah, just a guesstimate.
Deck to fence is 10 feet.
Beautiful. And then if we look at that rock wall to the riprap, that might be 20, 25. I bring it up not for this property, but just for commission members to keep in mind when we have developments that are asking for us to have 40 or 50 foot backyards so that the home can fairly have a backyard. Here's an example where I bet you the homeowners are happy or they wouldn't have bought the home. And we have a backyard that is much smaller than the developers are telling us they must have in order to be able to, I don't know, sell their houses, make money. I think this is a really good example of what can be enforced and still developers can make money. So it's mostly a comment for the commission members to file away because I often am pushing back on backyard size. And this is the kind of thing that I know gets built and gets sold. So maybe it's a standard we can continue to try to hold developers to. That's my only comment.
Should we create an all-star board?
I would put this on the all-star board.
All right. Thanks, Ted. Okay, I think no one else has any questions or comments. Then I think I'm good with it. Can I get a motion to approve the certificate of compliance for 44 Stony Brook?
Ted will make that motion for the all-star backyard.
Can I get a second?
Jim will second it.
All right.
And I'll say something after we vote.
All right. All in favor, Ted?
Ted is an aye.
Jim?
Aye.
Ed?
Aye.
And I am an aye. So I think you're all set. Dave.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Joe.
All
right.
know what I was going to say?
Yes, I do.
Excellent. I'm all for the idea of an all-star board. I love that idea. But I also think that we ought to have the flip side of it, which is the oldest applicant requesting a COC. So that is, the last one we heard was 1996, I think, right? So I don't know if that sets the record, if we've seen any before then, but let's have the all-star board and let's put up the longest period of time before somebody asks for a COC.
Through the chair, somebody was asking me about file number 11 last week, so they may get beat pretty soon.
Wow.
Well, at least 1 through 10 are done. Maybe.
All right. Number 10. Speaking of number 10, now I have Keely, 60 Pine Island Road, request for certificate of compliance. Do we have anyone on the call for this property?
Yes, Bob Keely.
Mr. Keely, can you welcome? Can you give a little overview of your project?
Sure. So we bought the property in 2019. There was, you can see on the left, a cabin that was built circa 1900 on the site, and we removed it, built a new house. We had to relocate it's not in the wetland area, but relocate the well. There was a failed cesspool in the wetland area that we removed and put in a 2-tank septic system and pumps to pump the water up the hill to leach under the driveway. It was very, very steep. The runoff was going straight from the street down the old driveway you can see on the left into the lake, and we've terraced and graded it, and we love it.
All right. So, Joe, did you take a look at this property?
Yeah, I did. So the site is well stabilized. No erosion issues were observed. The erosion control barrier had been removed. One of the pervious patio areas appears to extend closer to the lake than the approved limit of work. In addition, the ASBO plan shows apparent steps located from the bank, the retaining wall to the lake that were not on the approved plan, as well as the fire pit, which is within the pervious patio closest to the lake, which was not on the approved plan. Also, the approved dock and the boat lift were not included on the as-built. Recommend that those be added. There's also a 4-inch PVC pipe outlet present in the area south of the septic system, and the source of that was not apparent, and it's not indicated on the as-built. So recommended that be added and the source of that be determined. The approved plan indicated that the retaining walls were not to be or to be no higher than 3.5 feet. There's at least one that is greater than 4 feet in height. Recommended that the applicant provide information that the wall was appropriately approved by engineer. No PIBs or markers are indicated on the as-built plan. It was not clear if any were required. And then just a couple of minor items. The fee calculation form was not included in the materials reviewed. I do note that the Chapter 91 license was obtained for the approved dock and boat lift. And there were a couple of ongoing special conditions as is typical. But that was it for my comments.
Okay. Mr. Keely, do you have any clarification or comment?
Yeah, so I apologize if you don't have it. So land planning submitted back in September responses to LE's observations. that wasn't provided to you guys?
I got it. Yep.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Okay. So I can respond to the items. Is that helpful? I don't,
It is just a high level. Yeah.
sure. So the, let's see, the pervious patio, the area when we were constructing the walls was disturbed. Rather than putting grass in, we had to put the same pervious patio that we put up by the house in. It's stable, it manages the erosion, there's no runoff. As far as the, what's the other one? The as-built for the dock, when they did the as-built initially, the dock wasn't in the water. So they added it and resubmitted the drawing with it. Looks like it's here right now on this one. Yep. The 4-inch PVC pipe, there's retaining walls up by the house, by the front door, way up the hill by the driveway. If you go, down the left, right, and right. So there's a drainage for the wall. No water runs out of it, but it was just a drain that was behind the retaining wall up by the, towards where the front door is, backwards, away from the lake, up towards the driveway. So he located the 4-inch pipe on the side lot there, but it's a drain for draining any water that gets behind the wall, and nothing's been getting behind it. When we the wall height, we didn't know how high the grade. We're working out the grades when we would after we started the project, and there was no way to get the steps from the lake up to the house without constructing higher walls. Our stonemason we worked with says he constructed it per the plan on the site plan. There was what was submitted a graphic describing how the wall was to be constructed. We don't have any engineering plans. I wasn't aware I needed to do that. And I think that was all of the items.
Okay. It looks like a lot of them are identified in this plan, the subdrain. I see the dock. The over 4 feet or 4 feet or over is a building standard for walls, right, Kim? Something that.
Yeah, so I understand that's the trigger for needing a permit from building. I would recommend it just because we did just have a wall fail in town quite spectacularly. So it's more for your protection than anything else.
Okay.
I did have a question, Melissa, if you would entertain
Sure.
me. I was wondering, Mr. Keeley and/or the engineer, was it, and this is just me looking with my naked eye, it does look like the driveway, the total footprint of the driveway over the proposed is a little bit larger. Is that what I'm seeing?
I don't think so.
No.
You have the proposed?
Yeah, so this is the proposed. It's definitely a different configuration.
Right. How did this happen? So we had 2 plans. One was the straight plan like this, and the other one had the curve in it. And we went back and forth with the fire department. Yeah, because if you go back to the other one, it has the S curve in it. So the fire department and the building department approved this plan as part of the project to keep it from just being a straight shot down. We were trying to get more or less grade as you were going down the hill because it's so steep. So the swoop to the left was added, and we had to put stone on either side of the driveway to meet the fire department's requirement in case a vehicle needed to get down there.
I guess my question to you and to the commission is, does the commission have an interest in having that information provided? Is there an increase of impervious surface over the proposed? And if so, can that increase be infiltrated on the site? I'm thinking about quality of runoff. Definitely a steep grade here.
Mm-hmm. I think it would be worth providing those numbers just so we have an understanding of the magnitude of a change. And kind of, I guess, along those lines, there was the comment about so pervious patio extends closer to the lake than approved limit of work. How much closer is that? What was the difference there? I don't know if that's a number we have now or something we want to ask for.
So is this the limit of work on this plan? It looks like it. Right. And I think the pervious patio is here.
Yes.
Yeah. So I guess the question becomes, what is the separation? I mean, I know that this area in between is like a grass lawn area as well.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And grass is what we had on the approved. I guess it doesn't really say.
No, I'm looking for if there was original photos from the original filing. I'm not seeing any in the file. Oh, wait. So it does look like the existing condition was a grassed area.
Mm-hmm. It's just a lot greener grass now. Okay. In the patio, was the patio on the approved plan?
No. There's a patio up here, but not in this location. I think these are like additional masonry walls as well, and then the steps, the patio. This patio exists as well. So kind of the stepwise retaining wall improvements, masonry walls, and then pervious patios down here seem to be additions.
Yeah, it's a little different. And the stairs are on there now. Okay. So it sounds like we'd like to just understand the difference in the impervious area associated with the driveway, and then a little more clarification on the distance, the change extending closer to the lake, what that measurement is.
Okay.
Does anyone else have any other comments on things they'd suggest for this as-built or understanding in order to potentially close out this order?
Melissa, I don't think I have another question, but I think that if we see that the patio and fire pit and walls are closer to the lake edge than we approved, a possible, I'm just throwing out a thought, if we find that that's true, a possible solution is to turn the grass area into plantings, as we've been asking people who live on the lake lately to do. We've done the boat tours, and it seems to me the more grass we see on the edge of the lake, the more weeds we see in that part of the lake. So if there is an issue there, that may be a way to take care of that problem a little bit.
Right.
But we have to wait to see what kind of issue there is.
Mm-hmm. No, that makes sense. It makes sense to me. We get an idea of the variation.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense, Mr. Keeley.
Yeah, so I need to get you the calculation for the driveway, the dimensions of the patio area, and I'm unclear about the permit for the wall height. What's the ask? I just want to make sure I don't waste your time coming back and not having something I'm supposed to have.
Mm-hmm. I think that's more, that is a recommendation to either provide a design from the builder to we're not retaining wall designers.
Sure.
Providing that plan to us is not gonna, we're not gonna have comment. We just, like Kim said, have seen walls fail.
Sure.
So we just want to make sure that doesn't happen and cause erosion issues or safety, concerns right there in our jurisdiction. So if you could get some backup for the building and design of that wall, potentially even a permit from the building department, that would definitely check that box for us.
Okay, I'll reach out to them. I feel kind of dumb not having got it the first time, so now that it's done, but I will reach out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Through the chair.
Yes.
Just clarification on the driveway. I think what I was looking for personally is a calculation of the total impervious square feet in the proposed versus the as-built. So that would include like roof runoff, driveway, anything else that's impervious at the site.
Okay.
So we can get a whole picture.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Okay, so I think we'll continue that one to the next hearing is December 19th.
Okay.
Does that give you enough time to collect that information, or if it doesn't, you can always?
So. I mean, the measurements, it should be able to.
Okay.
I do know when we did it, the driveway, there was a discussion with the engineer, making sure that we weren't over any limit of impervious surface on the site. So that was a discussion point. I don't know what the numbers were, but I recall it was a discussion point. And he said you got plenty of room. You're not in danger of running over. But I'll get the difference for you and any backup for that anyway.
Okay, appreciate that.
Okay.
All right, so I think we're all set on this one.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Appreciate it.
All right.
Am I the last one for you?
I think so, unless we have any public forum requests, Kim.
I am not aware of any.
Okay.
I'm going to sign out.
All right, I think we're all set. Can I get a motion to close the meeting?
So moved.
Well, I will second Jim's motion.
All in favor, Ted,
Ted is an aye.
Jim,
Aye.
Ed,
Aye.
and I am an I as well.
Good job, Melissa, filling in. Thank you.
Thank you,
Did it.
Melissa.